some legislative updates, actions, alerts that we need to address. And just want to say, first of all, that I am very sorry to report that a longtime member and supporter of NWA GO, even back when we very first started, Lynette Garber, has passed away. And our thoughts and prayers and good wishes are with the family and with her, and she will be missed. She was very important part of this group, and we just need about 10 more to step up and take her place. So please get involved. Uh, Contact me. Mostly, we need people to donate some money today. If some of you haven't ever donated, there's a little Q code up here, QR code. Click on that, or use your phone to unlock it. And during live streams, you can donate $1 or 2. And if we had more people attend the live stream, which I understand today we're really in a bind and trying to get this out in a hurry. You'll see why in a minute. But next week, if the screen sharing works, uh, then I will re-record Light Rail Nation, and I want to show you some examples of what light rail can look like. The streetcar trams can be very attractive, add character to a city or a region. And I just think that'd be great. Also, see what some of the overheads look like. We'll get into it. Also, want to show you what some of the new Amtrak railroad uh, train sets will look like. But I forgot to look that up. Maybe I'll try during this. But the main thing is uh, what's going on right now. Of course, they had a conflict with getting a new speaker, and they have one. Now they can set a budget. The U.S. House of Representatives, that is. The Senate and the President have been ready, but now the House can work on it. They came up with a THUD bill, which is transportation, housing, and urban development. Well, THUD is a dud, and it's HR. And let's see. Let me look it up. I should have that. Sorry about that. Um, so I guess it's HR for housing, House resolution. Where did that go? No wonder nobody's joining. I thought I had this up on the website. Just more things that just go wrong. So anyway, let's go ahead and screen share and see if I can pull that up. Um, Let me go over here. I was trying to, okay, it's HR 4820. So HR 4820 is is the resolution to basically defund Amtrak uh, by direct funding by 64% the projects like expanding rail, passenger rail, and so on. So, and yay, we are sharing the screen. So it's they have money allocated like $66 billion They want to reduce that by a great degree. If we have any chance at all of getting Amtrak to come through our area, we have got to help get this turned around. And there's nothing that works better than a bunch of fired up people who bomb, not literally, but I mean, shoot a lot of mails and contact, uh, emails and other contact phone calls to their congressional representative. And ours is Steve Womack, and you can see this is his page. Down here it says contact, and you have a uh, highlighted area, office location contacts. So you can call his office in Washington. You can also call the local office. I have done that before. Folks that staff the local offices are super nice. They are in Washington. Also, I've been by there and met them, and hope to go again this March. If you want to shoot him an email, go put in your zip code plus the four. And if you don't know the four, I just put in 4 zeros. That's the 4-digit suffix, and then hit submit. And it'll take you to an area where you can uh, send him an email. I don't show this is but now on the website. I will offer you a sample message, and I'll read it to you just so you have an idea of what we're saying. It's what I said was, as a constituent, I am asking you to vote no on HR 4820, the Housing, Urban Development and Related Agencies Appropriation Act 2024. This bill includes a 64% cut to Amtrak funding below the 20 federal, uh, financial year 23 adopted levels, and an 85% reduction to the Federal Transit Administration's main capitalization program. So right there, they're talking about, or we're talking about. So not only are they cutting directly money that goes directly to Amtrak, Federal Transit Administration helps appropriate that and make sure the money's spent appropriately. They're cutting that by 85%, which means they're not going to be able to do their job. The cuts to Amtrak include a 92% reduction in funds to the Northeast Corridor, the busiest rail corridor in the Western Hemisphere, which carries more than 2,200 trains every day, disrupting service on this corridor, which carries 780,000 commuters from 8 commuter railroads every weekday, would harm the entire U.S. economy. Will also threaten the elimination of Amtrak services for hundreds of cities and small towns across the U.S. Many of the rural communities Amtrak serves don't even have access to intercity bus transportation, much less a regional airport. And one of the last live streams, I think the last one I did, I talked about a very small town in Texas, Del Rio. A few hundred people there. Uh, no bus line goes through. The closest regional airport, which was 100 miles away, had just closed. Once again, we were very lucky to have Northwest Arkansas National Airport. Many others that size, and even a little bigger, are getting shut down. Um, so these people, if they're poor, they don't have very good transportation. The only way they can get to another larger city for medical care or see relatives or whatever is on the train, and it goes 3 times a week. So this would cut trains like that out. Um, let's see, many rural communities don't even have access to, oh, okay. Rail Passengers Association, which is where I'm getting this information, modeling suggests that Amtrak's interconnected services in the Northeast Corridor, the long distance national network, and the dozens of state supported Amtrak routes together will return 7 billion and $8 billion each year to our national's gross domestic product, 4 times what we typically invest in the service. So it's just about $1.5 billion we spend keeping these rail routes going. But since people are using them and they go to other places, they spend money, they bring money back home if they're using it to commute to a larger city. It multiplies, the money grows. And so you have between $7 and $8 billion that goes back into our economy. Not a bad investment, folks. Not a bad investment. So the cuts included in HR 4820 will negatively impact as many as 20 million passengers nationwide. If that happened to uh, airlines, there would be no end to the protest and the angry calls and angry emails to every congressman in the U.S. Capitol and many of the governors and everything. So you would endanger tens of thousands of operating, construction, and manufacturing jobs, with the initial estimates indicating 10,000 Amtrak employees alone could be furloughed or separated due to lack of funding. So, we're just cutting jobs. They say, "Oh, we got to save money, we got to cut the budget." But they're cutting out jobs. These are good paying, construction jobs, manufacturing jobs, and Amtrak employees make pretty good. They make a good salary and they have great benefits and everything. You're just cutting all those jobs out, and that's going to throw us into a recession. HR 4820 will also halt work on scores of state sponsored transit and intercity rail infrastructure projects that will benefit tens of millions of Americans. On behalf of those 20 million Americans, we urge you to reject the radical cuts to passenger rail and transit outlined in the House Financial Year 24 Thud bill. Like I said, Thud is a dud. And don't worry, it will be posted after I finish the live stream. I will put it up on our website, and I'll put that message that I sent to Steve Womack already today is there. Please, please, please put a little effort in. It's not much. Uh, you have the screen here, womack.house.gov/contact/. Very easy to get to, and you can let him know what you think. Please be polite if you talk to staff people. Honestly, that very often they don't share his dogmatic approach to things. Uh, Most of them are really nice folks who just want to get in and help help people. So all of this will be on the website. So let's see, stop sharing. You should be coming back. All right. So please contact him. Let him know what you think, um, especially if you agree with me. But we've really got to really flood his inbox with this message. I know the world is on fire. I know there are lots of other priorities, but Arkansas, and I say this again and again, Arkansas suffers from deep poverty, and it is destroying our state. A rail renaissance is an economic renaissance for Arkansas, and I'm not exaggerating. This is here, I've got this kind of insert here with the Amtrak map. We need several trains coming through every day. That's a round trip going from northeast to southwest and southwest back northeast. There's a couple out in Bald Knob who want to add a station there. Very fair, but the train comes in the middle of the night. I don't know what good it'll do. But if we had 6 Texas Eagles running, fair enough, it'd work. Here's a system map. Whoops. Let me do this. I'm going to share the screen again now that that works. Let's use it. Here's the system map for Arkansas and Missouri Railroad. And the reason I repeat things is that the opponents of passenger rail are extremely well funded. They have whole YouTube channels devoted to them too, constantly putting out content telling people that we don't need passenger rail, and people funding it are very wealthy and they made money in petroleum, and now we'll just leave it at that for now. But they get their message out constantly. So when you repeat things, it helps drive the point home. People learn it. So uh, that's why I say it, but over and over. So anyway, we're going to use the Canadian Pacific Kansas City Southern line starting in our proposals to start in Kansas City. You'll and we're going to use CP KC for short, although on this map it says KCS for Kansas City Southern, but since then, of course, Canadian Pacific has merged with them. You come down to No Show and Missouri, and you catch the BNSF line here. You move over to Monet, where you pick up the Arkansas and Missouri Railroad. You come down, go to Fort Smith. You get back on the KCS line. You go down through uh, Mena, Arkansas, Texarkana, Shreveport, and I think we're going to propose to go all the way down to New Orleans. That's 886 miles. We want 6 round trips a day. That's 6 going north, 6 coming back south. Brightline out in Florida, and I'm hoping I can go to Florida this year and ride the Brightline train. I'm going to do some filming there, and we will talk about how Brightline operates. They're really showing Amtrak how it's done. So if we want to build up to have that kind of coverage and that number of trips, we've got to maintain and increase funding. So it is just so important that we keep this pressure up. Every time I put one of these out, please respond to it. Tomorrow evening at 6:30, um, I believe the House Appropriations Committee, which Steve Womack is a part, begins deliberating on this again. So tomorrow, sometime during the day, got to get hundreds in there. Spread this throughout your network. Encourage your friends to respond. And even if you don't want to put in a long message in the email to Congressman Womack, that's understandable. Just say, please don't cut Amtrak funding. It needs to be increased. Uh, it's important to Arkansas. Now, Arkansas also has a number of steel manufacturers here in the state. Now, they're over here in the northeastern part and up and down by Osceola and around West Memphis and so on. Uh, they make steel components for railroads, and they have Arkansas Steel in particular has a large contract with Amtrak for Amtrak outside of the Northeast Corridor. So if Amtrak's going to expand, that means they have to hire on more people. That means overtime for their workers. So this is just good for Arkansas's economy. Even if we didn't start rebuilding and refurbishing rail for increased passenger traffic, uh, it would still be great for Arkansas's economy. And of course, we want to do that too. Those are heavy construction jobs. They pay very well. This gives young people and some older folks, maybe not my age, but younger, maybe younger than me, a chance at a brighter future. You go out, you do a hard day's work, get a good day's pay, you spend your money here in your community, and it just once again, it expands. It's like uh, ripples in a pond. It creates more jobs, and that's what we mean when we say, okay, it's got about a billion and a half, almost $2 billion we're spending on Amtrak throughout the United States outside the Northeast Corridor. But that's why it creates 7 to 8 billion dollars in our gross national product. So it's money well spent. Part of being fiscally responsible isn't just cutting the budget. It's saying, okay, if we spend here and we get this kind of return, is this worth it? Well, yes. So I want to thank you for showing up and listening in. Um, if you haven't already, please subscribe to this YouTube channel, like this video, drop us a comment. Like I say, share this with your network tonight and tomorrow. Encourage everyone you know to respond and tell Steve Womack that Amtrak funding can't be cut at all. And that will be a great victory for us if he says, oh, wow, I've heard. And it does make a difference, folks. I mean, I hear stories from around the United States from other Rail Passenger Association members. They have some very, stick in the mud kind of fiscally conservative representatives in Congress, but people get in touch with them, make an impassioned plea, please, this is what we need. And they know better than to mess with it. They'll say, sure, I guess we're in the Amtrak business now, or whatever it is people are making a plea about. So they'll make that an exception and go ahead and fund it. So it works. I don't know if any of you ever been to a 12-step program, but it works if you work it. So please do that. Uh, go to our website, scroll about halfway down, there's a donation button. Right now, it only works for $5, $15, and $100. Those amounts are great if you have the money and you can spare it. Please contribute. We have kind of a lot of things we need to cover. I have at least 3 trips out of town to national conferences, 2 to Washington, D.C. One's a rail passengers conference in spring. Then in May, there's a High Speed Rail Association meeting. And then in the fall, it looks like rail passengers will be meeting again in Tucson, Arizona. And even if I join through Zoom, that still costs about $200. And so please, donate, make sure it's monthly. Uh, and we're going to try to update and improve uh, our ability to donate. For instance, we're going to get registered with Facebook. I've got to look and see if, we've updated all of our applications and things with the state of Arkansas. And if we could change our name to NWA GO from Orbits, is what we were before, then you'll be able to go on Facebook and have a little fundraiser and raise a couple $100 for us. And, all of that helps, those small donations, a fundraiser, all of it's great. And if any of you uh, have written grants before, please contact me. We've got to work out something to get, some kind of grant funding, a community grant or something. Because, when I take off work now, I've been out with my knee. If I take off work to go to a meeting, I don't get paid. I won't have any time off that I can use. So it's, I have bills and I'm sorry, but that's the way it is. So uh, when people aren't wealthy, we need to make sure they have what they need to go and do things for the community. So please, please, please look at that. Once again, I want to thank you all for coming on board today and taking a short ride with us. We will see you on the next one. Now that I can share screens, I'll double check when this goes into replay. And if I'm sharing screens next Saturday, I'll just say it's Saturday around 3. we will do a repeat or a remake of Nail Live, or excuse me, Nail Light Rail. So y'all have a great rest of your day, and I'll keep you up to date on what happens with uh, Thud. Thank you.